It's Motor Month, so our games have to be related to motors in some way, shape, or form.
That's right.
Who's going first?
I can do it if you want.
What if I don't want?
Well, I'm putting it up to you guys. If you don't want it, send it right back. I mean, come on.
Nah, Spencer can go ahead. I'm sure he played a good game.
Yeah, I played a really good game.
Can't wait to hear about this game for Game Talk.
Yeah.
What game did you play, Spencer?
So my game was Twisted Metal, the TV show.
Oh, sick. How'd I play?
It was. I didn't play it. I watched it.
Oh, shit. He reviewed it. Didn't play the game.
He played the Paramount app or whatever the hell is on.
Peacock.
Peacock. What the fuck? The Peacock app.
That's the NBC's thing.
It's a bird with feathers.
That's the Office app. Yeah.
Yeah, the one that shows The Office. Yeah.
That's the only
My golf channel.
All right. So yeah, I think I talked about this in maybe one of the other episodes briefly. But I did end up finishing Twisted Metal. If you're not familiar with Twisted Metal, it was a PS1 game that took the world by storm. It said, let's bring a bunch of cars in, but instead of racing them, we'll just have them destroy each other with rockets and machine guns and special moves. And it had all these crazy characters, most notably Sweet Tooth. He became basically the mascot of the series. He's a clown that drives an ice cream truck, and he's just weird. Twisted Metal, you'd think you would hear that. It's a competition game where they just try to compete, and each character has their own little stories where they're almost like a very twisted Twilight Zone almost story where they get what they asked for, but in a weird way that they didn't expect, and the world laughs at them, I guess. You'd see it, you say, like, that's a weird thing to try to make a TV show out of, especially like 30 years after it came out. But they did, and here we are. It's starring Anthony Mackie, who was in the Marvel movies, so he's a pretty big name.
Oh, is he Falcon, right?
Yeah. Who's doing his best Will Smith impression the entire show. And then there's
keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Is that what he said?
That's what he said. He said that in every episode. It was disconcerting, really. And then it was Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I'm a big fan of for most of that show, except for the last 2 seasons. It really just fell off the rails. But like that show. And then it's in a bizarre casting choice. Wrestler Samoa Joe plays Sweet Tooth, but does not voice him. For Sweet Tooth is voiced by Will Arnett, which, as much as I love Will Arnett, and I'm a huge fan of Arrested Development specifically, but also a movie called Brothers Solomon, which I think everyone should check out if they haven't seen it. It's an awesome movie. Directed by star of Better Call Saul. I can't remember. I always forget his name.
Bob Odenkirk.
Bob Odenkirk. Yeah, he directed it, and he's in it. Great movie. But anyway, it's a little bit weird to have Will Arnett do the voice of Sweet Tooth. It just doesn't. To me, it doesn't quite work. But it's the story of Anthony Mackie on his quest to go from San Francisco to Chicago in a post-apocalyptic world where most of everything was destroyed in some eluded terrorist attacks. Which doesn't say who did it. It just says there were generic terrorist attacks. It constantly goes from back then to now. And so the music is heavily 90s inspired, which I like because I'm a 90s guy. But I think it also kind of... I've seen a couple shows do this now where they took the Guardians of the Galaxy strategy of having a soundtrack, like a movie that's based off of a time period soundtrack, and that's just the music of the show. And I think it was novel when Guardians did it, and then it kind of became its thing. And other shows doing it just kind of seems like a ripoff. As much as I love the 90s and the music that came from it, it's just kind of like eye-rolling to hear at this point. Because it's actually the second show I've seen that does that. So it's kind of annoying. The show itself is a tonal mess. It's generally pretty goofy. Like I would say about 60% of the show is like what you would kind of expect from a show called Twisted Metal based off of a 90s game about car crashes. It's jokey, it's like edgelordy and like, oh, I blew this guy up. Isn't that funny? And it's, kind of. But there's a lot of moments of sincerity in it, specifically with Rosa. I don't know her name, but the lady, the Rosa, I'll just call her Rosa character, where she's basically crying throughout the entire show. Either she's about to cry or she is crying, and she's not the greatest actress, so I don't really understand that part of it, and it's really just kind of confusing because it shifts from like being really jokey with Sweet Tooth, who's just a balls to the wall weird character, to like very emotional scenes that they're trying to do. And I really don't think the emotional scenes landed. I think they really should have just leaned straight into the absurd and would have gotten a lot better results out of it. There's a lot of little references to Twisted Metal 1 in it. So you have to just kind of look for it. I guess that should be expected in a show about that. And it finally, I mean, if you're really looking for Twisted Metal, you just have to wait till the end, which is unfortunate because throughout there's just a lot of, there's cars and stuff, but there's not really enough car battling to where you would think it was Twisted Metal until the very end. And then you're like, oh, okay, I get it. And the end leads to a sequel, series, or maybe just season 2, whatever, where it's more what you're expecting. So this would be like, you would actually see this almost as a prequel to Twisted Metal. You could almost look at it that way. So I don't think it was very good. Positives, some of the visuals were kind of cool. I really like the villain. Oh, God, I'm so fucking bad at Hollywood names. But the villain is a cop, and he did fantastic. He was really, really interesting. Everybody else, Anthony Mackie was okay. Again, it just seemed like he was playing Will Smith in like Men in Black. So just take that what you will. Like I like Men in Black, and I like that character, and I like. I think he did okay, but it just the whole time I was watching, I was like, I wish they would have just got Will Smith because he's just a lot more charismatic. But yeah, overall, I just didn't really like it very much. I would have to give it, if I had to give it a letter grade, like a C.
It sounds confused.
It very yes.
I do have to. Didn't like the old Twisted like that like the PS1 games use like Rob Zombie and stuff, like music. So like, wouldn't that kind of fit the?
Yeah, I didn't play a ton of the first Twisted Metal, but subsequently, yeah, they used a lot of the metal style music.
Yeah. So I was thinking like 90s, like that style of 90s music might work,
Yeah, they didn't really do that. They did most like regular 90s music, just like all over the place.
Fucking Third Eye Blind. Do. Yeah, like Simi Charm Life's playing as you're driving around.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like the tonally.
I don't understand. But that fucking Mortal Kombat movie that came out a few years ago also did this. I don't understand the idea of taking a property about tournaments and making a movie adaptation or a show adaptation that isn't about a goddamn tournament, because it seemed like the easiest thing to do. Because I mean, all you have to do is be like, Calypso's making a tournament about cars and they're fighting each other. That's the show. Why do you need like a fucking other thing?
This guy was in the first Marvel like chronological thing that I really did not give a shit about, which the Winter Soldier. I did like an episode of that. I just feel like he's got like sidekick syndrome,
Yeah. He just doesn't have quite the charisma to lead anything. He's cool, like he seems cool, but like not leading man cool.
Mm-hmm. But the problem is now he's like kind of typecast as a sidekick because of Captain America movies.
Yeah, that could be it. He needs some kind of role to break him out of that.
Can't see like modern Will Smith, but then again, I'm not a Twisted Metal guy, so I don't, I can't speak to it. Would you prefer this as a movie?
um. Yeah, I guess I probably would have. Yeah, I would have preferred it as more of a tight 2 hour experience than a season of episodes. Could have cut a lot of the crappy characters out. There are many.
I think the idea of like you said there's moments of sincerity. To me, that sounds like the opposite of what I want from a Twisted Metal show, because Twisted Metal is hokey and stupid, and I want a show to be hokey and stupid. Like the funny aspects. I think would suit it a lot better because it's Twisted Metal.
There, I'll say one that doesn't. I don't know. It's not super spoilerific. Okay, I'll say this. There's one moment where they really captured what I think they were trying to go for. An old woman was dying, and she eventually does die. And she was like a big trucker person. So they put her on like a mini wheelchair that was shaped like a truck. And then they just dropped her off the back of it. And she was just like spun out onto like a freeway. And they were like, it was like a sad, like, okay, you did your thing. And they're like, oh, that was sweet. And then she blew up. Like they put explosives on her and she exploded. Like that was like perfect. Like, okay, great. Like that's good. But that was that was the rare one. Most of the moments were not that. They were like very like emotional, like powerful, at least trying to be, scenes of sadness and loss, and it was very like, how do you put those two things in the same show?
Yeah. It sounds like they're trying to make The Last of Us out of Twisted Metal, but the Twisted Metal is fucking the insanity.
Right,
that's the point.
Yeah,
it's like it's just insane shit. It's like nobody wants sincerity out of Twisted Metal.
Yeah,
Do you call it an insane posse of clowns?
You could.
There is a clown. There is a clown.
And he had a posse.
Wow. There you go.
So it was the insane clown posse. I see.
Get your Fago.
TP?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. That sounds like I'm probably not gonna watch it because I don't want that. But I don't know why. I don't know why this even has to exist. The show's not relevant. I mean, the game's not relevant.
Right. I wonder if there's gonna be a Twisted Metal or something.
Like I don't like a PS5 one or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems weird.
That seems, even right now, that seems out of Sony's wheelhouse. I mean, what are you gonna do? Make it a fucking over the shoulder game where you transport a young character across the world, because that's all they fucking do now.
Yeah.
You do that. Twisted Metal is back with a narrative you've never seen before. It's like, I want to see the fucking Twisted Metal Black where the preacher guy like drowned a baby. It's like that's the shit I want to see. It's fucked up and twisted. That's Twisted Metal, not this.
Yeah, it was.
What's a better name for this?
Average. No, not Twisted.
Average music.
Straight
country.
Straight country. It's like stadium country, What's that? Like garbage stadium country music. It's like written for like the lowest common denominator by a dude who would never visit those towns.
Yeah.
Garthbrookville.
Garth Brooks is have you seen his Facebook post? Like where you just
I've heard about them.
Oh my god.
Videos or something?
Fucking,
what is it?
Dude, there's a video of Garth Brooks where he's in like a hotel room. I'll send it to you guys after. It is.
I've seen it. It's funny.
It's fucking insane. Anyway,
I just found this here Facebook.
Yeah. He goes,
I like it.
Yeah. He goes like, he's like, we get to have conversations between you and me, and I like that. And he goes like, and these conversations get personal, and we really learn about each other intimately, and I really like that.
Really?
It's fantastic.
That's funny.
Way
You think
better.
Garth Brooks would have made this show better.
Yeah, he would have made the show infinitely better. He should have been Sweet Tooth.
I don't know how the hell you make a Twisted Metal show and you don't have grunge and metal as like the soundtrack.
That should have literally been the only thing playing the
Yeah.
entire time.
That's like what I think when I think Twisted Metal.
Yeah,
Welcome to the new Hollywood, boys.
they don't get it.
They just don't get it.
We thought the metal was the Cars, you know.
Leave the metal to the cars.
Parents just don't understand. That's a fucking Will Smith song, right? It's like an early Will Smith song.
Yeah,
The Mackie remix.
there you go.
Millennials just don't understand.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Like 2013 YouTube Rewind Will Smith. Ah! It's hot.
I don't know.
It's hot.
Chris Rock smacking Will Smith pretty good.
Will Smith looking through a telescope at the moon and going, that's hot.
I gotta say though, like Men in Black Will Smith is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like, Men in Black was a badass movie.
That's the last thing I cared about Will Smith in. Hancock, maybe?
Oh, God. Yeah, even that's.
Or I, Robot, right? I am.
So what, with him and the kid, his son?
No, I know. I Am Legend's probably the last. Oh, The Pursuit of Happiness. Yeah. You think of
Like that one.
I Am Legend's probably the last movie I cared about with him.
Yeah. Robot was also good.
Yeah, I Robot.
Decent run.
Yeah, amazing.
Will Smith gets a D for decent.
Smith gets a D.
Gets the D.
A D, more like it, yeah. Thanks, Spencer, for doing the deed.
Thanks for playing a game for Game Talk.
Yep. I played
For
it.
twisting this metal right here.
Did you at least watch it on a game console?
No, I did not.
Did you watch it on a literal Peacock?
Did you get like a
I
Fire
watched
Stick
it
or
on a
something?
Peacock. Yeah. I shoved the TV up a Peacock's ass and then I started watching it.
EA.
I'm
Birds.
I'm very curious what Teddy's is, so I actually want to make Teddy's the main event. So I'm gonna. I think people need to. I think people want to stay for Teddy's. I think because he's put a couple rules out there, which is kind of funny.
Put one rule.
So I want to see what that is. You have to stay and see what that rule is.
He put literally one rule.
He
How's
put
that a couple rules.
He put a series.
First rule of Game Talk is don't talk about Game Talk.
There you go. That's the second rules. He's put a series of rules now. So
oh, stop.
I want to see.
I guess now I did 2 rules.
I want to see what that is. So the viewers will have
Enforcer, rule enforcer, tell him.
The
Dismissed.
The viewers will have to stay.
Delete.
The viewers will delete mine just like we did the last Game Talk. We had to delete mine out of the Game Talk.
Yeah, delete.
Yeah, please go watch Spencer's left. What is it? Dead Rising Island.
Dead Island.
Dead Island 2.
Yeah, go watch his review. It wasn't in the Game Talk, so you missed it.
It's rare. It's rare footage, never before seen.
And if you did see it, somebody else was talking over it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna send it over to Alex to have him do his. He won't be.
Hey y'all, don't forget to subscribe to them button mappers.